music. All right, we're kick-starting our year today, and this is our topic today. We're going to talk about making this the year of progress. And so we're going to be going on about that in a couple of minutes. But just as we're getting started here, I wanted to mention again that you can register for the summit and get all the free gifts with the QR code at the top. And so make sure that you do that. And then there's VIP gifts that you can go after as well. Some really awesome stuff there. That's like 35 hours worth of training just on sales alone. And then there's other topics that other members have put in, like an hour worth of training or added their courses to it. So lots of incredible stuff. I'm sitting here right now with my good friend, Sheenay Richardson. Yay! Oh, I should get the applause out for you. All right, this is Sheenay Richardson, the awesome and the amazing. Awesome. I got all kinds of cool buttons to push, so I got to use them once in a while, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I got one that laughs for us too, but so far we haven't said anything funny except for I laugh at my own jokes, but I don't think that counts. So.
Yeah, no, that doesn't. We'll say.
Yeah. Okay. So, we want to talk about, first of all, the summit and what has been going on. And, this is the Kickstart Your Year Summit. So, who has helped you to see how to kickstart something in your business, Sheenay, as we've been watching along on the videos that are right here on YouTube right now?
Actually, so far for today, the one that really had me motivated and kickstarted was when you and Tif were talking earlier. It actually really stood out to me. It gave me more to say when it comes to motivational speaking. The way that you told your story motivated me to tell mine and why I started becoming a wellness advocate. So it kind of gave me an eye opener, like, oh, this is what I really need to bring to people's attention. I really need to be more emotional and really tap into like my story. So it really opened me up to create and tell my story of why I'm doing what I do and why I want to do it for people. So that was one of the biggest touch points for me that I feel like really stood out. That, and also the other people who spoke today, Alyssa Crabtree and a few others. Like, I just love hearing people's stories and them tying it together into their business and why they do what they do and the purpose behind it.
Yeah. We had so many good speakers today. I could just go on and on. Christine Lang is someone that I've just been getting to know. She did a great talk earlier about, finances and, she originally titled it something about it sucks to be broke. And, it was really getting down into the nitty gritty with people, that are struggling in their business, just trying to get that thing off the ground, trying to get it launched. And I just thought she really related so well to people. I enjoyed that one a lot. I enjoyed it when we recorded it. And then I was, watching it again, just seeing, she had some really great stuff about looking forward to the future and how to prepare yourself. And, I really enjoy working with her. So guys, check out Christine Lang's video from earlier today. We had some other interesting ones, different ones. Elizabeth Bennett talked about, having those hard conversations in the corporate workplace and why you don't want to sweep things under the rug. I love that. That is so true. I know that as we've been building CIBN Connect, sometimes you got to have candid conversations with people, staff, team members. In our case, we got members. We had a customer service issue earlier this week. Somebody told me something that upset them. I was like, wow, so I got in there and had a conversation. You have to have conversations. You can't just let this thing go, right? It's not going to get better. And you don't want a bad Google review. So, you want to go talk to people, find out what's going on, and see if it can help them. And so I loved her talk about those hard conversations. And it reminded me once again that, it's better not to avoid. It's better to just go deal with stuff up front. Amazing talk. Was there anyone else that stood out for you today?
I liked hearing Nate. I got a glimpse of him. It was really just everybody's different points. So it was so many to touch on, and they have so much information to give. So it just kind of becomes like, into like this big pot of gumbo, like so many different things to touch on. And I just love the mindset of how they tie in what they do into it. That's really,
Yeah.
I feel like, been the theme for these past 2 days, is that it's
Yeah,
just really all
absolutely.
about changing our mindset to move to the next level, whether it's personal or professional. So,
Yeah.
or, related to money or anything. I just love that how they tie in. We have to change our mindset and be consistent and be focused. I
Yeah,
love
and I like what you said too about it being like a big gumbo of all this stuff, all these people. And now that we're doing this, we did it on YouTube this time.
that.
You can actually slow down the pace. You can go, okay, I'll watch a video or two and I'll go make my lunch and I'll come back and, I'll watch another one. I know when we're doing this, like in our meetin.com kind of group that we're always, meeting in, when you're doing a summit, it's like one after the other, bam, 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 bam. I know for me, it's like 3 days of being online, can't move from my seat. So this has been really different because I got to enjoy some of the speakers just by listening along and then, pausing and going and doing something, come back and doing it again.
Correct. And that's what I love about us switching it up this time and doing it
Yeah.
that way as well, because you get to stop and pause. If you need to take notes, you can go back and do the replay and pause and take notes and, okay, well, I liked it. Let me go back and rewind what was said. It's just a matter of listening to it at your own pace,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
getting
it was so
understanding.
different doing that this time. Nate's talk was really interesting. I love that geo marketing thing that he does, where you can get right into an area. I mean, how awesome is that? We've done that for CIBN over the years. I used to have this little tool, and it was only available for a short time. It's no longer available, but he does this kind of stuff. We would actually drop this little thing that was about the size of a marshmallow, where we knew competitors were having meetings that were networking meetings, and the competitor that we were comparing ourselves to in our ad required a lot of volunteerism from their members. And we knew that was a sore point, that people didn't always like to be volunteering 4, 5, 10 hours a week for their networking organization. And with CIBN, that's never been necessary. So we created some ads around that, and we dropped this marshmallow in where the meetings were going on. And so as they're sitting there in the meeting thinking about all the volunteerism they have to do, these ads would pop up in their phone and go, "Are you tired of volunteering for your networking group?" It was so awesome. We had so many calls. People were calling in and going like, "Hey, your network doesn't require that. Like, let's talk." So anyway, he can do that without the marshmallow.
Right.
He actually can help you target. Like if you are a plumber in the city of Cincinnati or Chicago or wherever you are, he can target that city for you, or an area around, a very populated area that which you want to target. And he can actually, make it so that your ads show up on people's phones and where they are. And, it's amazing what technology is available. And if you're growing your business, like if you're remote, you're a coach and you're living remotely, you can target a city with that kind of advertising, and even pick a specific area, like a business community or something like that. Amazing stuff. Yeah, I agree. That was an interesting talk to hear how that could be utilized.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we got lots more coming up over the next day. I've got a fabulous video that's being put together right now that we're still editing. Francois is still working on editing. We still have stuff that's being downloaded into the system for tomorrow. And so we've got Yuki is going to be up tomorrow. And she's a dog trainer. So that's a totally different type of business. We have Jennifer Robertson that's going to be up tomorrow. Talking about marketing, and just I love the way she does it. Her marketing maven group that she started is just incredible. And then of course at the end of the day tomorrow, we will be ending it with Cliff Morgan, who's going to be talking about how to protect all the money that you have and how to keep it and make it so that no one can sue you and take it from you. And no one can, and the government can't take it from us either. Like you pay your required taxes, but he has a way of lowering it, and that's legal and awesome. So for business owners, this is such a incredible information, and I know we're going to be later in the day tomorrow. So many more good things to come with the summit. And you can still register up there with that registration QR code for the summit and get all of the gifts. Now, let's talk about something else, Sheenay. We want to talk about from this year, okay? And how to move the needle forward this year, how to make progress this year. I'm just looking for my notes because I'm writing notes everywhere. So many things going on. Okay. Absolutely. So how to make progress this year. Mm-hmm. And, I think that's an important conversation to have because this is the beginning of 2026, but it's near the end of the first month already. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we're looking forward to the next year. And it doesn't matter when you're watching this video, like think about what's this year for you? What's the next 12 months going to look like? So moving forward and making progress in our business this year, Sheenay, what do you have in your mind about that? Like, what do you think we should be doing?
As I've always stated, focus. I think focus is number one. I don't, want to tap into any kind of religion or anything, but to me, I have this concept of faith, focus, and consistency. So those are my 3 things to do: is to trust in the process, to be patient with the process, to have a focus, to write it down, to tie it all in together and make it happen by being consistent, by doing it day after day after day. So to me, those are my top 3 things. I create myself a daily list, a weekly list. So for me, it's like, okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then I have like a checklist of things that I want to do, so that on each day I'm looking at the checklist and I'm going down, and it feels good to check off everything, check off the boxes. So for people who are just like, I don't know where to start or what to do, create checklists for yourself. If you create checklists of what you want to do, and it doesn't have to be for the week, just do it for the day. And when you do that, whether it's business or personal, and then you look at that list, okay, I know how to start my day. I know how I'm going to end it. And then check off those boxes and see at the end of the day how many of those things you've actually completed. And when you look at that and you say, I had 5 things, I didn't complete all, but I got 3 done. That's still good to say. I've had
celebrate things. That.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. Faith, focus, and consistency. That's a great way to start out the year.
Yes.
Put one foot in front of the other is what I always say. Just keep on moving. But I want to drill down into something else that you said here. You were talking about lists. Creating a list and building the list and going on the list. Now, sometimes lists can seem a little overwhelming. If we get a whole bunch of stuff on the list, it can really overwhelm us. So I'm going to just take a minute and talk about something that we always train on in Quarter Launch. Quarter Launch is something that happens at CIBN. Every 90 days, we do this Quarter Launch where we bring our entrepreneurs together and help them launch the next 90 days. So this is right out of that course. I'm going to give it to everybody for free right here. Okay, so lists. Instead of being overwhelmed by lists, okay, first thing you want to do is separate the to-do list from the project list. Okay, so the first part of the project, if something is a project, it means that it takes longer than an hour. So when you're making your to-do list, you're going down the list, you go, and it says build the website, okay? Or it says write the book, or it says, build the automation for this project, okay? Whatever it is that is on your list. If you're looking at that and you go, okay, that actually takes more than an hour to build the website. If I'm really good at websites, maybe it's going to take 4 or 5 hours. If I'm not good at websites and I'm just kind of following directions and watching videos, maybe it's going to take 20 or 40 hours. So what I want to do is, first of all, recognize that is not a to-do item. A to-do item is something I could just check off, and that is going to take time. So I'm going to put it on a separate list. I'm going to get it off the main list. I'm going to call that my project list. And anything that takes longer than an hour is going to go on the project list. And then when I go down the project list, I'm going to look at how many hours do I think that job would take me. And I'm going to write a number beside each thing on the project list. And so some things might take 2 hours. Something like a website might take longer. Writing a book might be like 100 hours, whatever it is. Or if it's writing articles, it might be 2 hours or 4 hours, whatever it is that, it's going to take you to do that. And then when you are done your project list, you're going to have like hours beside each thing, and you'll know about how much time it's going to take. Then you look down your list and go, what is the most important thing to get done? Or what is something fast, like a 2-hour project, I could get off there quickly? And then you go to your calendar and you time block the time. Hello? Are you listening? You time block the time. All right. So if you got a 2-hour project, you go block off 2 hours in your calendar where you're now going to get to meet with people, or so you're going to get to go do this thing and get it done. Okay. And that's going to be like sacred time where you're not doing anything else. You're only going to be working on the thing that you said you're going to be working on. And I love to time block projects early in the morning, later in the afternoon, or on weekends or evenings. Definitely do not time block projects at the time you're supposed to be selling, or you'll be broke forever. If you just get comfortable doing projects during your daytime hours when you're supposed to be doing appointments with people, that will be the death of your business. So never, ever, ever let yourself be caught up with projects during the day when you're supposed to be meeting with customers. Okay. That's time for networking. It's time for appointment setting. It's time for having appointments. It's time for follow-up. It's not time for projects. Projects can be done later when customers don't want to meet with you. So you got to really think about that. Now, if you work your project list like that, you will get one thing at a time done. And if you got a 20-hour project, you got to break it into smaller chunks. You go, I can do it 3 hours on this Saturday. I can do it 3 hours next Monday at 4 o'clock. I can do 2 hours here, and you got to do it in chunks. But this is how you get your projects done. And I have learned over the years that that has been a game changer. It just helped me get so much work done. And then the task lists, of course, 1, 2, 3, you try to actually decide what is priority on the task list, right? And then just do 1, 2, 3. And if you can get 1, 2, 3 done, and then you separate out the projects, you'll feel so much better. You won't be under stress all the time. Because isn't it a stressful thing to have 20 things on your to-do list, or 3 pages?
Absolutely. Yes, I agree completely. That's why I said to, break it down. And we have to keep in mind, you're not going to get everything done in one day. Like, break it down into days. Like you said, if it's a project, then definitely put that to the side as, okay, this is something I need to do every day, but break it down into time slots. Like you said, like, let's say from 2 to 4, I'm going to work on this and only this. That ties back into focus. And then if okay, this project is going to take me about 2 weeks, put a reminder in every single day from 2 to 4. This is what I'm going to work on. That's where the consistency rolls in. And then if you trust in the process and know I'm going to get it done within this 2 weeks, that's where faith ties into it.
Absolutely. So I'm going to share a QR code here at the top. This is actually for the quarter launch that we do every 90 days. And, making progress in your business and progress, moving the needle forward continuously. It's really important that you set a plan and follow the plan. And I'm sure everybody, we always go, well, I can do that on my own. Do you? Can you? Okay, I'm sure there are people watching us right now who have moved the needle forward on their own. There's also some folks watching who have not. Okay, we're full of good intentions, but I would just stop yourself right now and think, where are you at in your business? Where were you at 12 months ago? How much have you moved the needle forward? If you haven't, stop that crap right now, okay? Sign up for quarter launch. Let's get going. Let's do this differently. Let's join the community at CIBN and actually start working together to get this happening, okay? Because when we make our goals, we have to write them down, but then we also have to be accountable to them and to someone else, or we're not going to do them. We're just going to take them and put them in a nice little bookie, wrote them all down, and then we put it away somewhere. And 5 years later, you find it when you're moving. Well, how is that going to help you? You were at the last quarter launch, Sheenay. What did you think of that? How did that help you?
It really helped me a lot because I had it stored in my mind, how I wanted everything to play out. But at that time, I did not have the breakdown. I only had it broken down to, oh, this year. But seeing that it's okay, let's do 1 month, let's do 3 months, let's do 6 months. Let's not just do a year, let's do five, let's do 10. So it really helped me expand my thought process to where do you want to be in X amount of time. But it was starting from the end and then working down to the beginning. And that's what I like about it is you can start small. It's okay to start small, but once you start making the progress and seeing the progress happening and the changes evolving, then you go evolve into something bigger and something better, and you go from the 1 to the 5 years to the 10 years, and you just look back on everything that you had laid out and see, I really did, if not all of it, I did at least most of it. But I just like the layout. You have to start out. It's like when with building a building, you have to have a blueprint. And I feel like the quarterly launch was very helpful, very insightful. It's the blueprint to how you want your life to be in your business and even personally, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like we created Quarter Launch and I still attend it like an attendee every 90 days. It has moved my business forward over the last 15 years in incredible ways. And, I highly recommend it to people, but I know when members come out every 90 days, it changes their life. Like they just start working through things, and they're just putting one foot in front of another. And, we're talking about living a year of progress and setting the goal and then breaking it down into bite-sized pieces and then putting one foot in front of the other. This is how we make progress. We can't just, if you're winging it doesn't work. Okay. Winging it means that in 12 months from now, you're in exactly the same place that you are today. So we don't want to wing it. Winging it is for KFC. Okay. Winging it is for beer and wings night at the bar. It is not a sales process. It is not a goal setting process. It is not something that, that you can just go along mamsy pamsy and think, oh, my business is going to make itself. It's like, I'll build it and they will come. Well, good frickin' luck with that. Okay.
Very true.
Nobody's just coming. You
Exactly.
have to work the business and you have to actually take steps to get things working for the business, incredibly important, so I'm just looking into the chat here. I see we got people commenting on this. That's awesome. Thank you. There's Lionel. Nice to see you, Lionel. Thank you that you're joining with us. We really want to see people make progress. And the fact is, if we just do the same thing that we've always been doing,
Mhm.
we're going to get the same results. So my question would be, do you like your results? Do you
Exactly.
like it? If you're enjoying what's going on and you're making progress on your own, then have at her. But if you're not doing it on your own, you're not taking those steps, then maybe it's time to do something different. I'm going to change the QR link up here at the top and change it to the CIBN site, because this is where our community, this is where they join. This is where they find us. This is where they get more information. So I want to make sure that you have that. And of course, you see underneath my name, you see cibnconnect.com. And when you go there, there's events that you can sign up for. There's courses that you can see. There is membership available. And that speaker level membership includes the quarter lunch. So if you're like, how do I do that? Well, you get to speak at CIBN. You get to take other courses and training with that level of membership. But this progress piece, really, it's that level of membership where people are making the progress. They're working together. They're doing stuff. They're building things together. And they're getting feedback on what they've built from other members. And that is such an important component as well. How do you enjoy the feedback at CIBN? When you've made something new, like have people reached out to you to tell you if they liked it or if it reached them, or have you gotten any contact with others about that, Sheenay?
No, not yet, but I do get the feedback of when we network and meet that, like I really enjoy talking to you. I really enjoy how I can help you and how you really are supportive with helping me. So that's the kind of feedback that I get, is the more so like the support system. when it comes
Yeah.
from
Well,
that.
your presentation is fairly new, so you're probably not going to get it on that because you only made that like a week or two ago. But
Correct.
yeah, but you've always had some great support from members coming
Absolutely.
back. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so this is going to be a year of progress, and we're going to be moving the needle forward. Another thing that we do at Quarter Launch that is really, I think, important when you're talking about goals and goal setting is we create affirmations around the goals. So, I mean, many people are familiar with affirmations, saying things positively to ourselves in the present moment, like, I am strong, I am powerful, I have, whatever it is that you want. But when we are doing the goal setting, what we do is we actually add the affirmations as a piece of that. So we break it down. So, for example, if I knew that I want to double my income, that's my goal. I want to double my income this year. And maybe I'm currently making, I'm just going to make up a number. I'm making $5,000 a month and I'm a coach and I want to get to $10,000 a month. I'm just making this up. That's not what I do. But let's just say that's what you do. Okay. You're a coach, you're making $5,000 a month and you have customers that are paying you $1,000 a month and you're coaching them. And so you want to have double that, right? And you want to get 5 more this year. So it comes down to numbers. Okay. You have to realize if I have 5 and I want 5 more, then do you know how many appointments it took to get the 5 you've got? Math. Okay. So if you know that you suck at selling and you're horrible at it, you probably need 20 appointments to get one. Okay. That's about right. If you've had a little practice, but you're not really great at selling, it might be 1 out of 10. So you need 10 appointments to get one, right? And that would mean you need 50 appointments to get 5. So then you break it down to how many appointments do I want to do per month. And if I did 10 appointments that were to qualified buyers this month, okay, then I would get 1 if those were my sales ratio numbers, right? And so then I know I could add, by doing between 10 and 20 appointments a month between now and say, 6 months from now, I should be able to add, half a dozen new clients to what I'm doing at that level. And so it's math. I just got to figure out how many appointments to set. And as long as I have a good lead generator of some kind, or I get on LinkedIn and talk to people, I should be able to move the needle forward. Now at CIBN, we have lead generators for members to use, and so that they can do that. Sheenay, so what did you think about that math? I'm going to come back to the affirmations piece for this in a second, but what did you think about that math? Does that make sense to you when you're goal setting?
Absolutely. And honestly, I think in any business, it's always a breakdown. And it's once you get the numbers, that's when you have an idea. That's the blueprint, the numbers. And then that's when you take that next step to move forward. For example, if you're like, okay, like you said, like I want to, as salary wise, my income to be $100,000. Okay, I need X amount of appointments. And out of those appointments or reach outs. And then I need X amount of appointments from those reach outs. And then within those reach outs, these are how many will become clients. Once you get that breakdown together, that's where the being persistent part comes in. And okay, this is what I need to do every month because these are the results that I'm getting. And that's how you will see, if you take time and focus on the progress, that it's going to grow and you will get to where you need to be. We just have to be willing to put in the time and the understanding of how it works when it comes to the math ratio and how to move forward with it to get our results.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I was just thinking about, okay, so then how does this used in the affirmations? So we get the math right, and then you go into your affirmations and you're creating like what you're going to say to yourself daily. And at CIBN, we show you how to do that 6 times a day because you got to change the way you think. And you've built these ruts of how you think right now, where if it was like water running off a roof down onto the ground, it's just, that's how you always do it. You always do it that way, or this is how you always think. And sometimes, we have stinking thinking. Okay. Sometimes we have like this mentality that, well, I never do anything right. And customers, I don't like to sell. And customers are hard to get. And there's not enough money, and you got all these negative things going on in your head. Okay. And if we have those negative things going on in our head, we have to reprogram the head. Okay. Somebody said to me, "You're brainwashing people." I thank God. Okay. Their brains were dirty. They needed washed. Right. They're dirty with all of this stuff, this crud that's telling us that you can't do it and you can't make it and you can't get ahead, and blech, that's this crud. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So what we do with affirmations is we say, customers come easily to me. Making money is fun. I enjoy meeting with people, those kinds of things. Customers pursue me. That kind of thing. You add this to your list of affirmations, and you say things like, I'm going, actually, I love some of the stuff I put on my affirmations list. Okay. So some of the things that are just like, I love myself unconditionally, because I need to hear that sometimes. I just say, I love myself unconditionally. Other things I want to add to my affirmations list is, business is easy. Marketing is fun. I enjoy, doing these things. Sometimes you add in stuff about health and wellness too. I like to go for walks. I enjoy exercising. These types of things, as we affirm them, makes us stronger. And this puts one foot in front of the other. It makes it easier for us to go forward and make progress. But when it comes to selling in our sales part of our business, if we don't make sales, we die. Okay. Business goes out of business without sales. So the selling part is really, really critical. So if I know that I only get one customer in 10 appointments, then I want to say things like, I easily book 10 appointments a week. People love to book on my calendar. It's easy for me to get appointments. Those are great affirmations. I also want to say things like, I am getting better at selling every day. Okay. And I want to work on my sales process as well, so that I do get better, because 1 out of 20, 1 out of 10 sucks. Okay. That's horrible. You should get to a place where you can sell 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5, maybe 1 out of 3. Okay. And that comes from honing the sales skill, which I'll talk about in a minute. We'll get back to that, because that is really a way to make progress in your business this year, is honing the sales skill. But let's just come back to the affirmations thing here for a minute. Sheenay, have you noticed that when you actually affirm something, like making it, like, I like to do this, this is easy, customers come to me. Have you noticed the difference in that since you started doing affirmations that way?
Yes, absolutely. Like, for me, I love numbers. So like you said, if it's like, oh, making 10 calls a day, 10 is just a number. And when you just look at it like, okay, I need to make 10 calls, 10 is just a number. I need to just do this in 1 hour. Like, you can do this. It won't take long. Call, talk, set the appointment, and keep going. Like, that's my affirmation. Like, you can do it. Just keep calling, keep going, keep going. Don't stop. Don't stop until it's done. Like, those are like my go getter, get it done quickly affirmations. So they do work.
I
When
love that. The making the phone calls or making the contacts is an important part. Booking the calendar is an important part. So I like to schedule some time in my calendar for half an hour on Monday morning, when business owners don't want to talk to me yet at 9:00. But I just jump on and do some scheduling and sending out some messages, or checking with my VA about messaging at that time, to make sure that I'm going to have enough appointments in my calendar. But then the affirmation that goes with that is stuff like, I love to book my calendar. I set time to do that every week. 20 people a week want to have appointments with me. My calendar is booked up with positive, prospects that want to buy from me. Those are great affirmations to go along with that booking part. Because if you miss out on the booking part, you don't have any appointments. And without any appointments, life sucketh, guys. Well, let's come back and talk about sales a little bit, because I think that's another important piece to moving the needle forward, to making progress this year. So when you first started learning about selling and what that would entail for your business, like, how did you feel about that? Did you have warm, fuzzy feelings about selling?
Of course not. I think a lot of people do not. And for me, it was just like, yeah, I was going about it completely wrong when I started taking the sales pro courses at CIBN. And it was like, oops, I didn't say it out loud, but in my head, everything that they explained, the breakdown, it was like, yeah, I was going about it completely wrong. And it was like the wrongs that I were doing, they were calling out saying, when you do it like this, it makes it awkward. And I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that just bluntly reaching out to people was, gonna make it awkward. And when that was my story, it was like, wow, you have to warm up. You have to go to your warm market. You have to have tactics and methods and understand how to reach out to people and not just be blunt and straightforward. And hey, will you buy this? Or hey, will you schedule time with me? Ask them how their day is going. Warm it up and say, hey, I'm checking in on you, but I wanted to schedule time so that we could talk about a few things. And then, I like how they give you the alternatives too. Like when they say, well, what is it about? Or this is what you say when this situation happens. Like, hey, it's just about this new venture that I have going on. If you could just take out at least 30 minutes of your time, that would be great. I just want to sit with you and just bring it to your attention. It's something I'm very passionate about, and I wanted to know if we can discuss that. Just really having it scripted out for you, because a lot of people going into business don't have scripts. They don't know how to start or what to say. And I was one of those people, like, I don't know how to start it off. Like, how do I start the conversation? Especially if it's somebody I haven't talked to in months. What do you say? And CIBN teaches you how to warm up to the lead, and to, hey, don't end the call, or don't end the text, or don't end the chat without an appointment. Be firm, be consistent, not pushy, but just be consistent and letting them understand that, hey, I just want to reach out for a few minutes of time. And then let's say it's a part two, to when you do schedule time to meet with them, don't end the meeting without booking another one. And that's also goes with networking as well. It's like, do not leave the meeting without booking another one. And that's one that really stood out to me. And I'm like, you're right. That's where I was going wrong.
Wow. I can tell you've really been picking up what we've been laying down. That's awesome. So I was just thinking, like, you mentioned a couple of things that were pretty awesome. One is that a series of awkward moments. My gosh, I could write a book about that. A series of awkward moments. I mean, that is the sales journey for many people as they're getting started, because it feels uncomfortable. You're like, ooh, I have to talk to this person and try to sell them something. I don't want to feel salesy, and I don't want to be like a used car salesman. And oh, my Uncle Ben was like that, and it was gross. I mean, he looked like Herb from WKRP, like, what are we going to do? We got to do this differently. Oh, I don't know how. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to start. I mean, lots of people have this kind of sales experience, and a series of awkward moments is kind of how they begin. So I was just thinking about that, like at Sales Pro, our training for selling, which we started because we had a networking organization. People were getting the leads, and then they still come back and say they weren't making any money. And I'd be like, what the heck? Like, one guy one time, Sheenay, I actually gave him my best friend as a lead. I knew she was going to spend $3,000, right? And then about 2 weeks later, he says at a meeting that he's not getting any business. And I was like, what the heck? Like, what are you talking about? I just gave you my friend who I know was ready to spend the money. So I called him aside after the meeting. I said, like, did you call her? Well, no, I thought you were going to have her call me. I'm like, what? Like, do we not know enough in business to actually that it's up to us to make our phone calls? Like, I warmed her up real good. All you got to do is call her. And, I even had CC'd them in on an email. He didn't even answer the email, So I was like, oh, do we got to do everything for these people? And then I realized that it was because he lacked sales skills. That was the problem. And he was, having these awkward moments, and he didn't know how to move forward. So over the years, we have realized this from some of our customers, and we've added a Sales Pro level to the membership, which is really still very inexpensive. It's like $177 a month. Most sales courses are like $5,000 minimum. So it allows people to get in there and start figuring things out. And like you were talking about scripts, The average person doesn't realize they need one. They're just winging it on every sales appointment, right? And if you're trying to change, you're trying to go from selling 1 out of 10 to 1 out of like 4, how much time would that save you? How much more money would that make you if you could actually close 1 out of 4 instead of 1 out of 10? Is that worth your investment this year in time and money? Absolutely. I mean, think about that. Every month that you're going without the number that you need, that's how much you're losing. Every month, month after month after month. And it's probably $2,000-$3,000 a month for many people watching this right now. $3,000 a month. That's like $36,000 this year that you're going to go without if you don't fix the selling problem.
Yes, I agree. And the selling problem is a mindset thing too. We have to just realize, like, with all of these, the greatest entrepreneurs that we've been having the videos on, it's all steering back to what they do, which is a mindset thing. Kerry, I even met with you when I first started in CIBN, and you were like, so what's the issue? When you're meeting with people, what are you saying? What are you doing? And I would say, oh, I'm just, telling them, hey, how you doing? And this is what I do. And you were like, so are you thinking that they're going to disagree with you beforehand? Or are you going in there thinking, I'm going to get this sale? And it was my mindset, like, oh, it's going to be awkward. Oh, they're not going to want to do it. And that was the result, because I came into it with that mindset. That's what the outcome was. So again, with sales, it's not just about the script, but it's about how you go into the sales with the mindset. Like what?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, many of our courses are designed to help with that mindset problem, because we get this, we get those ruts, we get those ways that we've always thought, the things that we've always done it that way. And we don't realize that we're stuck in that. And we just get out there and we're going to power it out, because we're entrepreneurs. We're creative.
What's the one thing you told me? You said you need to just get out of your own way. And that's what people don't understand. And if you don't, it's like, get out of your head with assuming the worst but wanting the best. That's not how it works. You have to, like you said, the affirmations is what help you think the best so that you can get better results. So that you can
and you were talking about overcoming objections earlier too, and creating a script for the objection. I mean, you're going to get them, right? So be ready. Okay, exactly. The common objections, they're always, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time, I got to talk to my wife or my partner or my spouse about that. Whatever the objection is, you know what they are. You've seen them before, right? So sit down and think about, what are you going to answer for that objection, and have an answer ready before you actually have the meeting. So when someone says, I don't have enough money, you say, really? You think it's too much? How much too much is it? And let them answer you and find out what is going on in their head. That's a game changer right there with how much too much is it? Exactly like that. You got to say it just like that. Because if I'm trying to sell somebody a $10,000 product and they say, oh, it's too much. Well, that's natural. It's normal. Right?
Right.
I mean, a lot of people are going to respond that way. So you got to be ready for it. And my question always back is, okay, so how much too much is it? Now, when you ask that question, something amazing happens. You want to make progress in your sales. This one's fun. I've had people, I say it's $10,000. They're like, oh, it's too much. I say, how much too much is it? And they go, well, I only have $8,000 right now that I could use. I don't have 10. Hello, that is not a no. That is a hell yeah. Okay, that person is actually thinking about how to fit it in their budget. And because I asked the question that way, I got a real direct answer. And isn't that better than instead of they said it was too much money and I just jumped down to, well, let's go to the $50 a month program. There's a lot of difference between $50 a month and $10,000. But because I asked that way, I found out they actually have $8,000 and they are really considering the program. So now I can say to them, well, I don't want to take all your $8,000 right now, but would you like to make a $5,000 deposit, and then could you pay the rest of it off over the next month or two? And they're like, yeah, can I have 2 months to pay it off? Great. Well, let's do a $5,000 deposit and 2 $2,500 payments. Would that work for you? Yes. Great. Well, here, let me share the link to make the $5,000 deposit, and then we'll figure out the rest. And they're like, yeah, that's awesome. So I share the link with them, And I say, just go ahead and fill that out. I'll sit back and in case you have any questions. And they get out their credit card and they do it right now. Like, that's progress. Okay. Because I asked the question, how much too much is it? So I had that ready in my objection list and that answer ready. You know, by the way, I'm not smart enough to figure that out on my own. I learned it somewhere. I can't even tell you where because I've read like 300 books or something on the subject of sales alone. So, but, you know, it's a good one, you know, and that has helped me move the needle forward. So, you know, I no longer close 1 out of 10 sales or 1 out of 6. I usually close 1 out of 3 or 4 because I have put years and years of experience into the training, you know, and move the needle forward on that. And that's the kind of stuff we're bringing at Sales Pro. It's like how to learn to do this stuff, how to create a script that feels comfortable, you know, because scripts aren't comfortable at first, are they? When you first start using a script, you're like, I don't want to use a script. That's not me. So you're like, how did you feel about using a script when you first started?
I was very uncomfortable because it felt like cringy and it sounded like, you know, oh, I'm reading because you're not familiar with it. So, of course, you're going to read it. But what I liked about the scripts is even with my business, when I'm saying like, hey, I'm going to read a script to you. Now I let it be known. Like, I'm going to read something to you. Is that okay? And believe it or not, people are like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Because that's not the issue. That's not the issue with them with what you're reading. It's what you're presenting to them, whether they want it or not. So they're just interested in what you have to offer, not what you're reading, like that you're reading verbatim what it is that, you know, you're trying to advocate or explain to them. So that's what I've learned. And I've learned it, you know, recently, like being upfront, like this is what I'm about to do. Is that okay? People are more open to that, you know, with you just being straightforward and saying, hey, I wanted to, you know, go down a list of things. Is that okay? They're more open to that. And that's what I like about it. And that's
I
what
think that's true.
yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
you know, when I'm meeting with people, I'm always asking them lots of questions. I'm not there to pitch them, and
No,
that's not how we train people. We don't want to be salesy. You don't have to feel like that. But having a plan is important. So the scripts are important to a certain degree. Like even if you don't have a script, if you have a list that you follow or a
right.
list of questions that you always ask, then you're actually collecting data as you're doing the sales process. And you then start to realize what your sales closing numbers are because you've collected data. You know, so if you haven't had an opportunity to do that and to collect the data, you don't know what's working or what hasn't, you know, what has worked in the past. I see Tif is just popping, and we're just talking about selling because we're talking about moving the needle forward, right? Yeah. I know you just came off of CIBN's Positively Networking meeting with the women. How was it today?
Okay, that's why I was only here at this time. We had a bonus session after. It was so powerful. So I just wanted to say, you know what? And I appreciate the intuition. It's like, I need to be here. These ladies, we're having some connections here that are off the charts. And I made the choice. And I know that Kerry understands that, no, when there's the synergy, I had to do. And just to be able to be there was just epic. And it just makes me even more excited about everything, like CIBN, the Women's Network, Sheenay. I'm just so excited that we're connected, and it's just awesome. And Kerry, you're amazing. So thank you. And selling, yes. Wow, we get to talk about selling?
Yeah, but just before I do, I'm going to change the QR code. If you just heard her talk about the women's networking meeting, I put the QR code at the top for the women's networking meeting, so you can sign up next week if you're watching us later. So anyways, yeah, we're talking about selling. We've been getting into it because we're talking about moving the needle forward. And, you know, we were talking with the people that have been presenting on the summit and the ones that are coming tomorrow and all that fun stuff. But now, you know, this is the year to get it done. And so it kind of led to a progression of conversations. One was, you know, selling clearly, because if you're going to move your business forward and this is your year, I mean, you have to nail it in sales for this to be your year. If you suck at selling, this isn't your year, honey. You got to fix that problem. And it will be your year if you go to work on it right now. But if you just avoid it and act like, well, that's not a problem. This is one I like, one I hear. I don't like to hear it. Actually, it frustrates me. I hear people say this one. They say, I'll just hire someone to do my sales for me so I don't have to learn that myself. I can get somebody else to do it. Well, if you're really, really rich, maybe. but probably not, because even if you're really, really rich, it's going to be a money sucking vortex going down into like nowhere, because you don't know how to sell. So how are you going to train somebody else to sell your stuff for you? Okay. If you suck at selling, you're going to have a long, long history of hiring people who also suck, because they don't know how to actually do what you're asking to do, because you can't lead them. Hello.
Oh yeah, can I just say thank you? And I want to mention how much I appreciate Sales Pro, because okay, it's taken me a while. But here's what I feel so much like, not just better, but I feel I'm there. I was so attached to the outcome, I became terrified of a no. And I was afraid to admit that for a long time. And now it's like, no, you just go out there. My goal is to serve people. This is what I'm here to do. And where it lands, where it doesn't, it doesn't. And I don't have to, I'm a little embarrassed to talk about being terrified of an outcome, but I will say it. So then I didn't go out there. If I did, I made it so that, well, they were very polite in their no. So nobody's feelings were hurt. It's not about hurting feelings. It's about, I have information. I got something. If you are ready for it, I am here for you. If you're not, that's okay. But my goal, as you say, Kerry, is I have to be able to sell it and present it authentically. And you can't be authentic. You can be authentic, even if but you've got to be able to sell it. So thank you for that. Thank you for Sales Pro. Thank you for the patience and the grace. And yes, 2026 feels so good right now, because I am truly learning to let go of outcome. I'm just here to serve. And that's where I'm at. And I'm solid. I'm not like, maybe this, maybe that. I don't know. It's more, here I am. So that's just what I'm feeling right now.
You're muted.
I'm just talking away to myself. I'm just agreeing with you. We're moving the needle forward, okay, in our businesses, and one step at a time. So if sales is my problem, then to move the needle forward, I have to fix the problem. If you have $5,000 or $10,000, I can connect you with great coaches in the network. No problem. They can actually help you fix it in days or a week, okay, with that investment. But if you don't have that investment, okay, then do something like Sales Pro, which you can just go to our website, cibnconnect.com, and you can go to the membership options, and you pick the Sales Pro level. It's $177 a month, okay? And I'll change the QR code at the top so it takes you directly to the CIBN website. And in the Sales Pro, we just work on it weekly, step by step by step. And some people nail it in 45 days. Some people take a year, that's okay. But at least you're working on it and you're getting better, because what a waste of time. If you are like 1 out of 20 to get a sale, oh my God. Like, that's like so much time is going into one sale. Like, you don't have that much time. You're going to get old and die before you get that thing off the ground. So you got to figure out how to get better at it, And so what we do is we help you break down your own personal sales process. We help you script the steps. We give you practice with each other. Okay. And then feedback so that people can tell you, I think that offer sucks, honey. You need to do something different.
And then it gets better.
Right? Why keep wasting your time and spinning your tires in the mud and not getting anywhere? Like, somebody should tell you that's probably not a good idea to say it that way. I've actually had that happen in Sales Pro, where someone come out and they had just worked on this thing and they were so proud of it. And of course we had to be, nice to them and not be mean, but actually what they were saying sounded bad. In one case, I remember a lady, she was saying something, it sounded racist. And to her, it sounded just right. She just wasn't thinking about how other people were hearing what she was saying. So we had to break it down and say, can you say it again slowly? What would you think if someone said this to you? And then she was like, oh. And then she got it,
Yeah.
But it's having that feedback, because she just, just describing what she did in that way, it didn't come out. She wasn't thinking that. She was trying to help people. She really was. She was trying to help people. It was just her wording was not right. Okay. And somebody else listening to it could be seriously offended, which would not draw customers to her. It would scare them or chase them away, you know? So that feedback is so important, you know? And sometimes it's even just like Sheenay was saying earlier, you know, I do this. I mention this a lot with new salespeople. I say, you know, are you making excuses for the customer before they made excuses for themselves? Do you remember those conversations, ladies? Oh, how many times do we do that? Right? Too often. I mean, we're thinking, oh, they think it's too much money, right? So we're putting that in our head. We're making excuses for the customer. The customer hasn't given us that excuse. Well, this person doesn't have the time. I shouldn't bother to ask them. Did they tell you that? Or did you just dream that up on your own?
In the absence of facts, we make up things. Kerry tells me this, and it is true. I'm so glad I'm finally listening. Let's not make up things. Just ask.
That's right. Because, you know, I was once working with one of our top sales producers, and she had, even she was still doing it. Like she was nailing the sales in many different ways. But she had this experience where a customer had gone away for like the summer and then had come back, and she tells me, I got to do something. I got to lower my prices. I got to do something with this person because they were away for the summer and now they came back, and, you know, and I'm really worried they're going to cancel their service. And I said, did they tell you they're going to cancel their service? She says, no, I'm just expecting that's what's going to happen. I'm like, well, stop the bus. Stop the bus. The customer has not expressed any inadequacies in your service. No. The customer has not told you they're going to cancel. No. So why are you projecting that onto your customer? She's like, oh my gosh, I am doing that, aren't I? And I was like, yeah, you are. I said, so how about you go into the meeting with positivity and getting ready to get down to business and, you know, ready to deliver the great service that you always deliver. How about that? She goes, yeah. So then she has her meeting and she does that. She just meets her with, you know, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get started. And everything was off to the races. She's had that customer. I think she still has that customer. And she didn't lower her prices. You see, we project things onto other people because of where we're at in our mind. Right? Have you thought of ways that you've had that happen for yourself in the past?
Absolutely. That's the prime example. The examples you just gave is what I meant by us getting in our own way. So you're stopping something either while it's already in progress and happening, or we're stopping stuff before it even starts. And that's the issue that I had at the beginning. I'm stopping things before it's even started. So I'm allowing myself, like in the past, I had that same mindset, like, oh, they're not interested. I already know what they're going to say. They don't have enough money, or, you know, and instead of just going in open-minded, seeing where they were, it wasn't that at all with one of the people I had that experience with. They were just like, oh, no, it's fine. It's just, I'm not interested right now. So that was the objection, but it wasn't the one I was expecting. So we just have to be open-minded and keep in mind that don't go in there assuming. Don't make assumptions for people. Go into it with the open mind and an open heart. Like, I'm going to present this, give it the best that I can, lead it, let them know what I have to offer. And if they don't want it, you know, denial right now is not forever. A no today may not be a no 3 months from now. Or just because they're not interested, it might be a positive outcome still, because they might say, well, I'm not interested, but I know somebody else who is. So boom, you made a sale within that sale. It just wasn't with that person.
Yeah, that can often happen, you know, and even the objection, I don't want to do it right now. Okay. If you present things with a script, you can actually set up your whole meeting to cover that objection before you get there, you know, to have them figure out what is it costing them to not do it with you right now while you're talking to them in the first place. Okay. So you can actually eliminate that objection by creating a proper script. And you can also have it written down as this could be an objection that comes up. So how will I answer that objection? So you have a sales process for this whole thing. And man, I could just go on and on and on and creating your follow-up and all these different things. We have some, I love to talk about this stuff because it's a game changer for business owners. And I see them change their lives when they really start to comprehend this, like how has it impacted you to learn this stuff, Tif?
It's impacted me in ways that are a little hard to describe, but some of them are easy just because I so appreciate, I'm just going to speak for myself. It's that worthiness. Why is that even a thing? Like, everybody's worthy of what they want when they're coming from a place of heart-centered service. That's just, but why is it like, I can't have this, I'm not good enough, it's not, and all of those things, and those, like Sheenay said, thank you, Sheenay, for talking about, the getting in our own way, and Kerry talking about getting our own way. And I think the best way is to make sure that you're connected with a community that is continually helping you realize that you've got this. You've got this. Like, what you want, and you just need you might need a little tweaking. You might need a certain skill or a certain tool tweaked, but it's not these huge, horrible mountains, like craggy cliffs that we're supposed to like just scale up while pushing a boulder. I mean, why do we do that to ourselves? And we don't have to. And I love this year of 2026 is definitely a chance for us to say, you know what? It's our time right now. People need us just as we are right now. This is not about getting to a certain level. We're already there. But to truly feel that and to know in our hearts that we are ready right now and people need us right now, I just think is so tremendous. And I could say it. I guess my point is, for a long time I could say it. It sounds nice, but was I feeling it? And now being able to lead that Positively Women's Networking and to be able to connect people and grow businesses, and in turn growing my business, is just, I can't put it into words. And it's, again, community, having this community. You cannot do it by yourself, but you can't even do it with other people if you're not in the right environment. And the environment is so key. And that's why I love CIBN.
Yeah, we've tried to create that environment in the groups. I mean, there's other groups as well. They're not all women's groups. We've got men and women and people of all kinds of shapes and colors and sizes. We just love working with entrepreneurs, and it doesn't matter where they are and who they are. We want to help them to grow their business. And so, I mean, super cool. This is the year to make progress. It's the year to make change. And if you haven't yet gone through and looked at the QR code, do that. Go check out CIBN Connect. Come in and see us. Sign up for some of those events. If you're scared of spending money, get the low-level membership at $27 a month and get started. Just do something, okay? Move the needle forward. Start making those steps. This is your year. Let's do it together. Let's go one hand in hand and just lead each other up, right? I remember years ago, some people are really hung up on money. They're like, I don't want to spend any money. I can network for free. Mm-hmm. How's that doing for you right now? Like, is that working? Are you bringing in 150 grand a year from your networking? Because I do. I have done since I started networking. Okay. I wasn't selling networking back then. I was selling marketing. Okay. We have been doing it profitably for years, and we train our members to do it profitably for years. We have a book called Smart Networking, the $150,000 method. We have training to help people to get there, right? So, I mean, if you're not making $150,000 a year, stop that. Whatever you're doing, stop it. It's not working. Okay? Come and do it with us. $27 a month. My God, if you can't spend that, you don't have a business. You don't. You have a hobby. And even your hobbies are more than $27 a month. What did you spend at Starbucks last month, for God's sake? Okay? Like, go get yourself in order, okay? If sales is the problem, then get the sales membership. You want to do quarter launch, pick one off the page, but do something. Don't just sit there fussing away for the next 12 months and buying this course and buying that course and getting a couple of pages in a joint book and going over here to a cruise. And how many dollars are you going to waste before you start to put your stuff together and actually put one foot in front of the other? Right? That one frustrates me a little bit. I hear all of these painful stories, and I know you guys could talk about it for an hour or two on that.
But then we can skip to the part where, thank you, that $27 a month, that is where I started. And you had to lead me through that because I was so sure that I couldn't afford it. And what if I had said no to that? And you know what? You just take a leap of faith. And you know that you need some support. You can never be too supported or too supplied if it's the right support. And that's what I love. This is the right support. And then I go up the levels. And that's what I appreciate, that there's something for everyone. And it is proper support. It is our proper systems. And that's what's so, it's like, I want to shout it from the mountaintops. I don't want to sound like a crazy person, but it's just so exciting to me because I've been to other places where it is not like that. And it's very disappointing and it can be traumatizing. Unlike CIBN, where I get so much in return. And it's always a great investment for my business and for myself.
We could go on and on and on, but guys, any final thoughts? I'm just gonna, we've been at this, we've been talking for about an hour, and at times it's been flying. And I really enjoy Tif and Sheenay, and I could hang out with them all day. We could probably just do like some kind of like marathon where we just talk for 12 hours on YouTube. We probably could do it, but I don't know if everybody'd be like so into listening to that. So.
We'd make it interesting in some kind of a way, though, I'm sure.
See, I agree with Sheenay. Absolutely. Oh, you know what I want to add? Fun. Until I had a community of like-minded, heart-centered, and also fun people, wow, business sucked because it was never fun. I know that there are things we could do that aren't as fun. There are times, but I'm talking just never any fun. It was always bad and uninteresting and awful, and outcomes sucked. And then now I'm in a group where, you know what? We're having fun and getting things done. Thank you. It can be like that too.
Awesome. Any final thoughts, Sheenay, as we wrap up today?
I just want to say, if you're really trying to find an outlet or an entryway in, just consider, and it's not longevity. It's not like, oh, you have to be tied to it. I think that's what people's issue is the commitment part. They're afraid that, oh, if I do it, I'm stuck with it forever. No, you just have to start somewhere. That's the bottom line. Just find somewhere to start. And if you want to, just start here, and then go from there. If you don't like it, but it's not about liking. It's about being consistent and doing, using the resources that they have for you, and I've heard so many, different, oh, it's a great place to be. It's just, I just wasn't, applying myself. Well, that's the issue. They have the tools and the resources. We have to just apply ourselves. And that's anywhere you go. Any membership you have or do, we have to apply the word.
I love that. We got these easy steps, 27, 77, 177. Just pick a spot. Come on in. The water's warm. You'll like it. And then, you were saying you don't have to stay if you don't want to. And that's true. You don't have to. But I should mention something else. I don't know if we haven't talked about a lot, but we're about to launch a whole new program. And if anyone wants us, you can reach out to us from CIBNconnect.com. We actually do have a lifetime membership for those that want to be with us for life. And actually, Tif did eventually go up to that. She is a member for life now. So we've offered it a few times over the years, and we're bringing it back now because we have some people asking for it. Yeah, it's $3,000. You pay once, and you never pay again. Okay, like never again. And you have all the levels of membership, including Sales Pro, forever. So if you're like selling something now and a year from now, you want to create a whole new sales program for something new, like you just come right back into the sales program. And by the way, we sold those in 2011. No, it was 2012, I guess was the first time we sold it. I had some members who joined us then with the lifetime program, and they're still with us today. And we have others that have been paying monthly for many, many years. I mean, you can just get off that treadmill and pay once, never pay again, and we'll be with you forever. It's a family business. So we've got our 50-year plan in place. So, you know, if you want to do that, you can. If you want to just do $27 a month and toe dip, you know, you can get those toes wet and come on in until you're comfortable. But we got something for everybody because there's just different strokes for different folks, right? Everybody wants to do it differently. So
Exactly.
just reach out to us. Anyways, CIBNconnect.com is the place to go to find all the information, connect with us. And we could talk all day, but I'm going to let everybody off the hook here.
Until tomorrow.
Until tomorrow, because we're back for one more day of the summit tomorrow. Yeah. And it's going to be amazing. Actually, we're launching the day with Jennifer Robertson. Actually, we're launching the day with a few of us talking for a few minutes, but then it's Jennifer Robertson is going to be sharing on marketing, and she is one hot tamale. You're going to love, you know, listening to her, learning from her. She is the marketing maven. So that is coming up tomorrow, and lots of other stuff is coming up tomorrow. So we'll see you then. I'm going to just hit the kickstart music, and we'll see you back tomorrow. Happy capitalism, everybody.
Woo!